Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Snakebite. We have a ton to cover. Women's tennis on an 11-match win streak. A lot more with that. Let's roll that intro. The 20th ranked baseball team took on Wayne State University last weekend in a rare 4-game series. Sachin Ramos took the hill for the Mocs in the opener and dominated, as always, as he tossed a complete game while striking out 12 Warriors in the Mocs' 10-3 win. Ramos' complete game was the first since May of 2018 at Florida Southern, earning him SSC Pitcher of the Week. The first game of the Saturday doubleheader was close for the majority of the game before the Bats came alive with 3 runs coming in the 8th inning to give the Mocs the 8-6 win. The Mocs had to rally again in the second game of the doubleheader after the Warriors jumped out to a quick 5-0 lead as the Mocs delivered a barrage of singles in the 4th to take that lead back. They never relinquished their lead after that, running away with this one in the 13-5 win, winning Mocs head coach Rick Odette's 699th game as a head coach. In the final game, Wayne State found their footing as they found an early lead and held on to it by holding the Mocs offense to just 5 hits to defeat Florida Southern 4-3. Odette will look to pick up career win number 700 against the #1 team in the country and reigning national champions, the University of Tampa Spartans, at Henley Field in a series starting this Friday, ending with a doubleheader on Saturday.
The #2 women's lacrosse team built their win streak to 10 games, taking down the #23 Mercy University Mavericks last week. It was a hard-fought matchup with the score even at 5 heading into halftime. Unfortunately for the Mavericks, the offense got rolling for the Mocs in the second half, scoring 7 goals, limiting Mercy to just 3. The reigning USA Lacrosse National Player of the Week, Gianna Murphy, was the star of the show, tallying 7 points with 3 assists and 4 goals, including the game winner. The Mocs have their most challenging game of the season tomorrow as they travel to take on #1 University of Tampa Spartans, looking to spoil their undefeated record.
And the men's lacrosse team came back down to earth this past Saturday after taking on a #13 Colorado Mesa team. Last week they took on the #13 St. Leo Lions this week, where the Mocs fell down early and were unable to climb back, scoring just 2 goals in the first 3 quarters compared to the Lions' 7. The 4th sealed the deal with each side scoring 3 in the 10-5 Florida Southern loss. But despite the loss, the Mocs are still able to celebrate something, with freshman Carson Corona being named to the USILA Division II Team of the Week for his performance last Saturday, previously mentioned, versus Colorado Mesa. This is the first of his young career here at Florida Southern, and he is the 11th Moc to receive the honor. The men's lacrosse team will return to the road this weekend on Saturday to take on Receiving Vote's Palm Beach Atlantic, where the Mocs will look for their first conference and away win of the season.
The #22 men's tennis team was back on the courts with 3 matches since our last show. The week started off with Division I Fordham University coming to town, and the Mocs brought out the broom, sweeping the matchup before taking on #23 Emporia State University less than 24 hours later. With a 4-1 win, they increased their win streak to 7 games, but the #6 Barry Buccaneers ended that streak as the Mocs returned to SSC play. Florida Southern struggled in the matchup, with Fauquier and Garros getting the only wins, falling 5-2. After a long stretch of games, the Mocs have a few rest days before jumping back into conference play against Lynn University on March 30th. The red-hot women's tennis team stayed busy too, facing off against SSC opponents and starting the week off against the University of Tampa, where the Spartans didn't have a fighting chance, falling to the Mocs 5-2. Palm Beach Atlantic then came to town, but unfortunately for them, it was time for spring cleaning for the Mocs, and the Sailfish got swept off the courts in another dominant showing from the Mocs. The women's tennis team has now won 11 straight and will look for win #12 versus the Lynn Fighting Knights in Boca Raton, March 29th, and some more in conference action.
And the track team returned to racing this past weekend as they took on the UCF Black and Gold Invitational, where Anthony Matthew continued to shine and as he further etched his name in the record books. Matthew kicked off the competition with a 3:50.45 1500 meter, finishing as the top Division II finisher and 4th fastest time ever by a Moc. Just a few tenths of a second behind his most recent PR of 3:50.11 was Matthew. After the 1500, the 10K was on deck with Dylan Bailey leading the way for Florida Southern in 31 minutes and 21 seconds over the 6.25 mile distance, finishing 7th overall. An impressive showing on its own, but especially because Dylan Bailey ran the 1500 just hours prior in a time of 3:57.71. When the second day of competition rolled around, Matthew returned to the FC record books per usual, running 1:51.25 for the third best time in the 800 ever at Florida Southern. Simon DeVos was close behind in 1:54.66, winning his heat. Elijah De La Cerda then rounded it out for the men, leading the charge in the second 2K steeplechase race ever ran in program history, running 6 flat, the new program record in the event. With Matthew's big weekend, he earned Florida Southern's first ever SSC Distance Runner of the Week award for outdoor track on the men's side, with this being the first season whole SSC having outdoor track as a sport. Don't worry, the ladies didn't miss out on the fun either though, with Caitlin Berry proving that she is a true middle distance runner for the Mocs, running the 7th fastest time ever in program history in the 1500 to not only win her heat, but doing so in come from behind fashion in 4 minutes and 46 seconds. Emma Mustante ran 0.08 of a second slower to claim 8th best in program history with her time. Alina Pizzoli led the way in the 5K for the Mocs in 18 minutes and 16 seconds, but Emma Pfeiffer closed out the night on a high note for the Mocs, running 38:17 in the 10K for the 10th fastest time in program history, just 1 second behind that PR.
The beach volleyball team had a tough midweek stretch in matchups down in Fort Myers against in-conference opponent Palm Beach Atlantic and Division I host Florida Gulf Coast University. The Mocs came into the first match on a 7-match win streak, which the Sailfish snapped, sweeping the Mocs 5-0. FGCU found a sweep of their own too, putting the Mocs at 15-7 this season. Florida Southern will look to bounce back in their next slate of matches in Palaca, Florida at the John Thibodeau Sports Complex, where they'll take on St. Johns River Community College and Wake Technical Community College this Saturday.
Number 25 women's golf team will round out our coverage this week as they visited Pembroke Pines to take on the Barry U Invitational, where they finished 2nd overall, defeating a number of ranked in-conference and regional opponents. With their 2nd place finish, we saw them triumph over number 8 Lynn, number 17 St. Leo, and number 18 Palm Beach Atlantic. Leading the way for the Mocs was Ava LaBelle, who finished 4th, finishing 3 over and just 1 place ahead of teammate McKinley Holding. Claire Gimple also found herself in the top 10, finishing 10th overall, and the rest of the Mocs pack helped clump it up and get that low stick score for them to finish just behind the number 6 team in the country, Nova Southeastern. They'll return to action March 31st at the Lynn Invitational down in Boca Raton for the final competition before SSC Championship play. And that'll be it for this week's edition of the Snakebite. A ton of seasons coming to a close sooner than later, but we'll be here to cover all of that SSC Championships for golf, even more stuff for the women's tennis team, hoping to make it 12 and continue that historic run this year. And you know, both track teams will continue to run up the record books and hopefully get some provisional times. See you next time here on the Snakebite.